I should probably be talking about this project. I'm working on my boat. That great big boat you guys saw several videos back. Well, probably more than that, but it's a boat. It's my first boat. I'm very proud. I'm Johnny Garage Johnson, and this is Hardcore Garage. Cutting out the base out of this $100 piece of plywood. So there's the bottom of my boat. This is another one of them projects I should have had done a long time ago. I've had approximately a year to get it done. I just didn't do it. I should have had this boat ready for the takeover and we could have had cruises. Cruises. Is it considered cruising if you're on the water? I am working out in the garage with the screens though. This rain's cooled it off enough. I brought the piece of plywood over with the cameo. Alright, here she is. I went and pulled her out of the, well, it was actually on the cabin, or on the porch of the cabin. Needs a little bit cleaned up. Somebody had previously at least attempted to convert this to a boat. I don't know if it had ever actually been in the water, but they have put this piece of metal here and a piece of wood down in here to help support any kind of electric or gas trolling motor. The bottom had a piece of OSB that was in really, really bad shape when I got it. The entire inside of this thing is filled with foam, like an expandable spray foam in a can. That's what keeps it up and floating, I believe. We are going to put that new bottom on there and fiberglass the entire bottom all the way up to here. Garage related? I think so. I think that you guys would really like having one of these. So, if you see one of these sandboxes, you can usually get them for less than $100 is what it is a sandbox, and there's several different styles of them. Also, this is a step 2, I believe it's what it's called. Little Tikes also had one. I got another one back in the woods. It looks a little different, a little bit longer, but I'm super stoked for this. I want to cruise this around my pond, maybe even possibly get a boat license and take it down to our city park and see what happens. All right, we got her flipped over. You can see it's kind of funky. What they did was silicone the piece of wood to the base. What I think I'm going to do, since we are going to fiberglass this, I'm going to put the wood on here, get it glued on, flip it over, and run a bunch of pan head, Phillips head screws through the bottom of the floor into that piece of wood, and I think that'll hold. You can also see here where they had it screwed in around the edges. Every so often there was a screw that was into this big thick plastic piece here. We probably will redo that as well. Well, I've got it all sanded down, just rough enough to where whatever I put for glue will stick to the plywood. Got all my holes pre-drilled, countersunk. They're drilled it out so they can be countersunk. And I'm going to clean it up again and then on to the next step. So I got it all grinded, scuffed, whatever you want to call it, and wiped it all down with mineral spirits to clean. And I think for right now, I'm not going to try to go spend money and buy other things, and I'm not even sure it's going to work. So they used silicone the first time, which it was pretty easy to peel off there. They hadn't grinded anything, so maybe it'll stick a little better. So I'm thinking that I'm going to use silicone all across the bottom, all the way around the edge, stick the wood, glue the wood, flip it over, put screws down through the base. I think that's what I'm going to do. And then we're going to fiberglass the entire thing. Well, first I'm just going to paint it with resin with some slow cure, so it will soak into the wood really nice. And then I'm going to go and probably lay 2 layers of fiberglass mat over top of that, just for some waterproof, nothing to do with rigidity or strength or anything like that. Plus we're going to need to put a bar right now through the center so this thing will track and not just sit there and do circles. So I guess basically if you were doing one of these yourselves, what you need to do first is fill the entire cavity of the underside structure with spray foam. Level that out. You also need to put some support in the rear. This one here was already done when I got it, but they cut a notch, dropped some wood down in there, and then put a piece of steel on the top cap. So when you put a trolling motor or whatever, it will clamp right to that solid piece of wood in the back and not just collapse the rear plastic and foam. Couple 100 pounds in there, weighing it down. Hopefully this is exactly what we needed. We'll see. This is probably where I screw everything up. Trying to wing this without really measuring anything. I need 5 cc's for 1 pint. A pint, 16 ounces, pretty sure. I don't think that's 16 ounces, so I'm not going to use 5 cc's. I want this stuff to kind of cure slow so it can soak into the wood. So let's go with a little less. Let's go with half of 5 cc's, huh? Hopefully that's enough to make it harden. All right. Got a couple minutes to work this stuff. You want to mix it for about a minute. And it's very, very smelly. Mixing it good is paramount. You don't want no soft spots, places it's not going to cure. And this stuff will probably remain sticky. You add, I can't remember what it's called. There's another little thing that you add to make it less sticky. And the reason that that remains sticky is so you can always second coat without having to prep anything. You don't have to sand to be able to prep. I think I made way too much to do this, but we're still going to roll with it. I love the smell of it. I don't know why. And this is polyester resin. There's also epoxy resin. I have both. My dad always prefers to use polyester. He has some kind of allergies to the epoxy resin, so anytime that he's in control, this is usually what we use. Okay, so here goes nothing. We're just going to brush this all on all this wood. I'm going to try to brush it on the edge too, depending on how much I got left here and how long this stuff is going to take to start curing. We're going to get it all down in the spots where the screws are real nice. Basically what this is doing is just going to help waterproof this wood.
Oh, let me up with a bright smile on now. Put me in the dark, so won't get lost now. To the moonlight, eyes you, Maria right now. You look into my eyes and felt a feeling. Then nothing got it feel like a slim night. Hey, come on, closer. Now I'm waiting for you, but don't hurry, oh slowly. Oh yeah, the moon is around us. You look into my eyes, together feel so high. To make a wave, the twilight, my only, my bestie. To my love, let me if you want tonight. Little more shining star to the sky, looking high. All the people, you're the one and only you know. Want to be
I am cutting out 60 inches. I think that's 49 inches wide. I need 42 of 1.5 inch mat. Got it all trimmed down. This is usually the part that a lot of people hate. You can be really sensitive to this fiberglass. I don't seem to have any issues with it. I don't know if that's just because I've been around it for so long or what. It doesn't really make me itch or anything. I can work with fiberglass insulation as well and don't never really get, you know, full-on crazy itching.
A dream like a moment, fantasy. Baby, I think about you now. Yeah, the moon is around us. You look into my eyes, together feel so high. To make up with your twilight, my only, my bestie. You fall into my love. Let me if you want tonight. Let me if you want tonight. Let me if you want tonight. Let me if you want tonight, tonight. Let me if you want tonight.
Got the second layer of glass cut out, and I don't even know what you really want to call this in boat terms, but this will keep your boat from just spinning in circles. Keeps it tracked, I guess. A tracking bar, maybe. All right, so I was able to jump back on this thing for a little bit until it got hot again. I got this section here but got resin on that didn't have any resin from the first time. Had a little debacle too. I'll show you here in a minute. But anyway, we got that done, and then I screwed on my tracker piece, or whatever we're calling this here, and I put a layer of glass about 8 inches wide over top of that, and then I put another layer of glass over top of this side, and all that is currently drying. This was my debacle this time. I finally go to open the new can of resin, which isn't really a new can. It's an old can that was brand new that I had laying around. And it had solidified in the handle and at the cap, even though it had never been opened. There must have been some sort of pinhole, I'm assuming, that let it harden. And I was thinking, oh gosh, this stuff's not going to be any good, which it doesn't seem to be drying as fast. I even put a little more hardener in this time. But again, I didn't max out the hardener because it is nice and humid out here. So just remains to be seen how it's going to turn out. I still have to do the other side. You can see like the hairs. That's just from where the dry stuff was laying on there when I cut it out. Got to do that side. A couple more little pieces. I'm going to grind all the way around the edges and then put a, I don't know, 4-inch strip around the edge. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I had a little issue with that right there. Hole busted open. I put some extra glass in there, but it still never closed it up. Here, and again, this is just stuff from the dry pieces laying on top of the sticky when I was cutting them out. But yeah, I figure I'm going to run the glass down to about right there. That thick, 4 inches maybe. It'll be a whole lot of fun grinding on that fiberglass to make. There's a couple little bad spots where I ran out and then had to go back and redo that corner there. The glass wasn't laid perfectly flat in some spots, so it left me some air bubbles, and I'm going to have to grind those out too. Then I'm going to grind all the way around the edges to make everything smooth. That's when we get itchy. Probably going to have to wear a Tyvek suit and respirator. I definitely will wear a respirator. And baby powder. Very important. Cover yourself with baby powder when you don't want fiberglass strands to stick to your skin. I ran out of chip brushes, so I got to use this nice $20 fucking paintbrush. Excuse my language. But I'm not happy about it. We are making some progress and have avoided getting the itchy itch while we're messing with this thing. Baby powder. That's the key. Douse yourself till you look like, I don't know if you guys remember the 80s, 90s movie Powder. You want to look like that dude when you're working with fiberglass and you'll be all right. We are beveling the edge now with a jigsaw and a vacuum, trying to contain as much of this as we can. First thing I did was took a pencil and I drew where I thought the line would be. And when doing that, I'm also identifying places that I think might be troublesome. Right there. Right there. I know this is going to eventually be an issue. So I decide, is it important enough to grind out and redo? Or do I let it ride and screw with it when it's time? And what this is where the first time that I did the resin I ran out, that was the square pretty much. You can see that perfect line. That's where I lined it out. And I should have pushed it down better or something, you know what I mean? The fiberglass, when it dried, it was kind of wrinkly. I could have ground it out at the time, and I didn't. So now I'm paying for that mistake. Of course, this isn't, anything beautiful. It's just a little toy project. So we're going to roll with it and see what happens. Once we get this completely cut off, I'm going to go back with my 90-degree grinder and a flapper wheel and scuff up this entire area, because I think that I'm going to go ahead and try to cover this whole thing here with fiberglass. Now what we're doing is we're going around with the grinder, and I'm grinding off all this, whatever this is. I don't even know if that was plastic coat or what. But now I've got fiberglass in my fingers. I'm grinding all that so the fiberglass, you can see right there, I cut some strips I'm just going to run a strip from the top edge here down however far. I don't know. I think I measured it out 3 inches or close to 3 inches. And that'll help seal that edge there. And hopefully, probably won't, but hopefully the resin will bond with this plastic and it'll make a nice tight seal. I got to figure out a way to get this thing up to the pond. It's a lot heavier now than it was just being a sandbox. So I'm thinking the way it is there, it's probably not going to work. But we're going to try. I'm going to try to put it in the back of the 03 upside down, just how it's sitting, and hopefully the front there doesn't drag the ground. See the waves from the baby sharks. I guess we're gonna do this. Sketchy. She floats. Now let's get a motor on it.
Going?
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared to use it. Hally ho!
There's nothing graceful about this.
I'm wet.
That's what she said.
She floats. Certified captain.
Here's the motor that we put it on it. It's a Minn Kota Endura, 40 pounds of boost or whatever you want to call it, and a big fat battery. It weighs as much as I do. Well, I'm totally satisfied, totally stoked. The thing floats. Sketchy on it a little bit the first time. Still got to work on, my battery's about to die. Sorry. Still need to work on a seat. I'm too old to sit on my knees, which that seems to be like the most comfortable position. But a little bench and actually straddling, having one leg, so you're kind of sitting sideways with the way that the steering is. Now, I have seen some of these things, people are rigging them up to where the actual steering wheel works, and that is freaking awesome. I don't know if I'm going to take it that far. Just, you know, next thing I really want to do, if I do anything more to it, is just paint it up, maybe add a couple little LED lights or something like that. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys take some motivation from this and want to go out and build your own mini boats and get them out on the water, man. Let's have a movement, the mini boat movement, the mini yachts. How about that? Y'all take it easy. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, do all that stuff. Until the next time, keep on trucking.